India have done it. 17 years since their last T20 World Cup, 13 years since their last World Cup, 11 years since their last ICC trophy. Runners-up in 2014, runners-up in 2017, runners-up in 2021, and runners-up twice in 2023. But finally, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and this Indian nation are world champions once again.
India, who win the T20 World Cup after 17 years. The drought is over.
Oh, that is brilliant. It's a hero maximum. On the ground, down the ground, another hero maximum.
Welcome to the Maximum Cricket Podcast. My name is Munter, and we are powered by Domino's. On today's show, it will come to no one's surprise that we will break down the greatest T20 final of all time between India and South Africa. Did South Africa choke, or did they just get Bumrahed? And lastly, we pick our team of the tournament. There's going to be a couple of snubs, that's for sure. If this show sounds like you, then please hit that likes button, hit that subscribe button, and enjoy this ride I'm about to take you on. Let's do a wee summary up top. India, 176 for 7. Kohli, 76 off 59, 12 off the first over. Rohit Sharma said it best in the preview of the final. He said that Kohli will be fine. He's going to save his best he will save his best to the final. He loves his intent, and that's what we got. We got good intent. It did slow down a little bit in the middle, and there's a bit of chat around his if he accelerated quick enough at the end. I think you're just being a little bit nitpicky there. I mean, he got the job done. He accelerated at the end. Was it like the perfect time to accelerate? I mean, it's hard to know. I mean, they got a good score on the board. If he accelerated early enough, and then went out, would that put more pressure on, Pandya and Jadeja, who's done nothing? Who's to know? I mean, I trust maybe the GOAT in white ball cricket to make those calls, and in the end, they got the job done. I mean, India were 34 for 3. Some crucial partnerships with Axar and Dubey. Axar 47 off 31, promoted to 5, which is we will get to later on in the piece. But to be able to promote your number 8 to 5 because you felt like there was a bit of a matchup or whatever, and then to actually do a job, like genuinely took a lot of pressure off Kohli for sure. Like to score 47 off 31 in a high stakes final, that's big stuff. And then Dubey, similar to Kohli, where there's a bit more pressure on him. Probably not as much pressure as Kohli because, he's retiring and he's the GOAT and whatnot. But for Dubey, a lot of people were, myself included, were wondering why is Rinku Singh not on the side. But fair credit to him. Awesome performance. That pushed them over the line. 176. That felt, it was, if successful, the highest chase in the T20 final. Nortje, another good performance, 2 for 26. Well, Janssen went at 12s. More on that later. Not a good day for him, that's for sure. In reply, South Africa, it started horribly. Perfect start for India, 12 for 2 inside the first 3 overs. Markram and Hendricks gone back in. We spoke in the semi-final review how it's good that they've got a little bit of form. Well, that didn't last long. Bumrah and Arshdeep doing the business. Bumrah's delivery to Hendricks was just, I swear he only takes good wickets. I don't remember him like just a real cheap wicket. It's always bamboozling someone. It's always just a peach of a delivery. This is no different. Angling in at pace, nipping away, clipping top of off. Not a lot you could do on your bike. To South Africa's credit, this is where you notice the shift in mentality for South Africa. Because you sort of were like, when I seen the score at 12 for 2, I was like, there's a good chance there South Africa will just roll over. India will just be too much. 110 all out. Thanks for coming. But it wasn't really the case because South Africa really were dominant in the middle. They can play spin a lot better than, pretty much anyone, really. I'd say they're probably the best batting side in terms of playing spin, even better than India potentially. But having said that, as good as they were, India just kept fighting back. That's what made this such a great final. It was like a heavyweight fight, like just a lot of haymakers. Sort of every time South Africa would just trying to get away and were about threatening to get away, India would always just chip in with a wicket. 70 for 2, Stubbs and de Kock were cruising. Stubbs just sort of overdoes it, moves way across to the offside, tries to sweep XR behind square. He gets cleaned up for 31 off 21. Then 106 for 3. De Kock, he hit one down. Oh, that was after 12 overs too, so cruising at that stage. De Kock hit one down fine legs throat off Arshdeep to be all out 39 off 31 balls. Now that was an interesting one because the ball before he did the same thing. He just sort of swiveled over and then hooked on the inside, and then I believe Rohit brought long off up and then pushed finally back. And then for de Kock to do the same thing again, either he didn't see the man being pushed back, or he thought he was going to hit it square, or he was just mind blank. I'm not sure, but that felt like a bit of a moment. Just felt unnecessary. Felt like if they kept going for another few overs, I think that would have been game over. Again, it was just South Africa trying to put the foot down and trying to sort of get away from India, and then India just bringing it back, just when it mattered, just staying around, which is credit to them. This is where it gets interesting. We get Miller and Klaasen's partnership. Didn't last long, only a couple of overs, but gee, it changed a lot. They needed 68 or 42. Then Kuldeep's last over goes for 14. That leaves him figures of none for 45 or 4, which is, I mean, I would expect him to concede 45 runs in 2 games, let alone 1 game, and then to not take a wicket. Like, he's been crucial for what they're trying to do. So for South Africa to take down the spinners, I think they were going at combined well over 10s. Took 1 wicket between the 3 bowlers. That's a big tick for South Africa. And then it just got worse for India. We thought this is probably the point where South Africa win the game. I would have thought at the time. Rohit turned to XR Patel to finish his quota of overs. At the time, there was 6 overs left. Bumrahed had 2, Arshdeep had 1, Pandey had 3. There's 6 there. And the best player of spin in the world, Klaasen, was at the striker's end. And what followed was an absolute exhibition of batting against spin bowling. 2 4s, 2 massive 6s, 24 off the over. Now, runs required down to 30 off 30. And this over here is exactly why Klaasen is the best player of spin in the world. And it's so simple, but so hard to replicate. He has this ability to get under any sort of length and just sort of rock back but get the power back into the ball. There was a couple of 6s down the ground. I think one off Jadeja, sort of like a back foot punch down the ground. Some of those 6s off XR. It was 2 6s off XR where I swear the margin in length where it would have been half a metre, if that. And the fuller one was too full because he slog swept it for 6, and then just a fraction shorter, and he rocks back and hits it for 6. And in there's like probably like a coin, and that's probably the area of length that you can bowl to Klaasen. That's why he's a special player, and it's so simple, and he's so quick. His hand speed's so quick that he just gets that power through the ball. And I think probably lucky for Rohit's sake that they did win, because that's a decision. That over would have been scrutinised for years. But equally for Klaasen, for South Africa not to win that, it would have been interesting to see where that innings ranked for Klaasen, because that was an absolute sensational over. However, as we all know, India, incredible fight back. And, the question is always going to be, did India win or did South Africa lose from here? Because after that, as we know, 30 off 30, the 16th over, I mean, you've got to go to Bumrahed, don't you? It's a cry for help. There's no one else at this point. Bumrahed, give me something. Rohit's probably saying. South Africa, they're playing with caution. They only take 4, 26 off 24. Fair enough. You got to do what you got to do. The turning point of the game right here. Rohit turns to Hardik, probably out of necessity, but I think there's a little bit of symmetry to it. At the time, Pandya, figures of none for 12 off 1. That's not telling us a lot that he's going to turn this game around. Him and Rohit, they've had an interesting year with Mumbai. Obviously, the captaincy got taken off Rohit and then given to Hardik. Fans weren't happy. Mumbai really played poorly. That obviously weighed on Hardik by the sounds of it. And then for Rohit to come to Hardik in a time of need, I think that's poetic. A message to the fans potentially. First ball, the massive wicket of Klaasen for 52 off 27. The rest of the over goes for 4, 22 off 18. Now the run rate is over 7. And now they've got, obviously they can go Arshdeep or Bumrah here. They go Bumrah, they say, hey, this is it now. Your last over, we need something. It's make or break, really. If they don't get a wicket here, I think, potentially South Africa runs away with it. 2 dots and a 1 to Miller, who the premier batsman, like the only batsman on strike. Now, obviously, this is where the key difference in the sides, and we'll touch on this later on. Marco Jansen at 7, who, if we're being frank, is really number 8. India had the luxury of Axar at 8, who is able to be promoted, such as their depth. Bumrah, fast, full, straight through the gate. Jansen for 2. And then the next ball is a dot ball to Maharaj. Now, there's been a little bit of a debate after this last ball, the over to Maharaj, because he takes a single. Okay. There was a little chat in the comment box around he should just take the dot or a free hit or whatever and just keep David Miller on strike. I'm not too sure what the answer would be. I would say just take the runs on offer. However, the next over was Arshdeep. They need 20 off 12 now after that Bumrah over. The issue here is 2 dots and a 1 from Maharaj. So, if your number 8 can't get a normal batsman on strike, that's a real issue. Because when Miller was back on strike in this Arshdeep over, it had been 7 balls since Miller last seen the strike, and the asking rate went from 21 off 16 to 19 off 9. That is massive at that time. Miller gets a 2 and a 1 to finish. Maharaj misses another one. Shock. That leaves South Africa needing 16 off 6 after needing 30 off 30. Just thinking about it now, this might be one of the worst innings ever from Maharaj. Just a real sinking ship sort of operation. The last over, Hardik Pandya. Obviously, of the 3 seamers, he is the lesser of the 3. Not a dig, obviously a very good all-rounder, but when you got Arshdeep and Bumrah in your side, Hardik is the least sort of accomplished. First ball, shin high, full toss, kind of in the slot a little bit. Miller gets a bit of it, but not all of it. It goes down to long on. Suryakumar Yadav, he gets a hand to it. He sort of catches it clean. He tiptoes across the boundary, I would say 2 or 3 steps, and then he sort of throws it back, regather, and what could have been 10 off 5 with Miller gaining momentum against Hardik Pandya, the third-ranked seamer, 10 off 5 is very, very doable. Very doable. That's 2 hits. He needs 2 hits and 5. Suddenly, the game was over. At 16 off 5 with no set boundary hitter, no set batsman, India end up winning by 7 runs to finally get the monkey off their back. We had Pandya in tears. We had Rohit in tears. Kohli in tears. It really felt like the perfect way to end an era. Dravid's last day as coach. Rohit announces T20 international retirement. Kohli, he followed suit. I think it's important that we do touch on the careers of Kohli and Sharma. Before I do, let's bring in a message from our sponsor at Domino's, because they are similar when you really think about it. Domino's, they're the top of the pizza industry. Kohli and Sharma, the top run getters in T20I cricket. Kohli is the GOAT in white ball cricket. He's changed the game. Domino's is the GOAT of pizza deliveries, and they changed the game with $5 pizzas back when I was a poor student. That's all I ate. That's all I can afford, and that's good stuff. Sharma, being the selfless leader, and by being aggressive and not valuing his wicket, sending a message to everyone that it's okay to be aggressive if it's on. Domino's, they're selfless as well. They're bringing back the $13 Philly cheesesteak pizza, the perfect combination between the greatest sandwich in the world and the greatest pizzas in the world. For only $13, basically giving them away. I like that both Kohli and Rohit retired together because although Sharma was the captain, and people say it's his team, but Kohli started this journey, since the keys got handed over from MS. He couldn't quite crack it under Shastri, couldn't quite crack it under Rahul, gave the keys up to Rohit. He couldn't get over the line either. It always felt like India were a team of good players. First it was Kohli's team. First it was Rohit's team. You got their fans going at each other. This just felt like a symbol of the egos being dropped and India becoming everyone's team, the public's team. It's a lot of weight on their shoulders. These are two of potentially these are two of the greatest cricketers ever, and probably the two greatest T20 players of all time. It's probably going to depend on when Bumrahed retires because he is well on his way. And I am glad, as a cricketing fan, that they got the ending that they deserved. We do need to talk about South Africa. Was it a choke? At 30 off 30, South Africa had a win percentage of 96%. It does not matter there was 2 overs of Bumrahed to come. It does not matter they had a long tail. It's not the biggest choke ever. That would be 99. Or even 2015 was worse. It's still a choke. There's still elements of it being a choke. And to be honest, it's okay. I think we should normalize choking. It doesn't mean... Teams choke all the time. Things happen. It's not a big deal. This was just India's time. South Africa will be better for it. It's a very good side. India, they ramped up the pressure, and South Africa blinked for a second. And that's sometimes all it takes. They dominated the spinners. They did 75% of the job, but it just wasn't good enough. So if we go through South Africa's review their tournament, give them their report. They played 8, won 7, they lost 1. Highlights, they destroyed Afghanistan, managed to win a lot of close games, and that 24 of Axar Patel's last over, that was a real highlight. Unfortunately, that was when it ended. The lowlights, everything after that Axar Patel over, those 5 overs, I would not want to rewatch that if I was South African. The high performers, Stubbs, Klaasen, Miller, and de Kock, all averaged around late 20s, early 30s. I think considering they only played on dog shit pitches, apart from that last final, which you could see Klaasen get into his own, I think that's a hell of an effort. They won a lot of games. A lot of different players, different batters won those games for them. With the ball, 5 bowlers averaging less than 16 with the ball. That's crazy. 6 bowlers going at less than 7. Mental. On the low side, I think, Hendricks and Markram being your captain, I think it's a little bit more disappointing. Like I said, they're playing on pretty average wickets, so I don't know how much you can read into that, but it's just always, it's never nice when your captain doesn't perform. But in terms of the expectations, I don't think anyone would have credibly had them over India or even Australia. Definitely semi-finalists. I had them to pick to make the semis, especially going on their ODI form. So I think for me, the report is an A-. It's almost perfect, really. The hoodoos are officially broken. They play an exceptional brand. They play an awesome brand of cricket. It's aggressive. They try and bowl teams out at all times. You just don't see that a lot. The trade-up is sort of the trade-off is the makeup of that side. They don't really have a lot of true all-rounders. They keep telling us Janssen is an all-rounder, but he's just not. He just isn't. Him at 7, that cost him in the ODI World Cup, I think, in that semi-final with their batting, and he's cost them in this World Cup. What it does is it makes them susceptible to just folding quickly at the end. Maharaj is batting too high, etc. 9 times out of 10, it's been fine because, the players are so good. But when we're talking small margins, so the difference between India and South Africa is Janssen and Maharaj cost them with the bat. Maharaj was absolutely dreadful. To not even be able to get a single is absurd. You should be 9 or 10 for that sort of carry on. And then you got Axar Patel, who bats 8 normally for India. He's so good. He could be promoted because of a certain matchup. But South Africa don't have that flexibility or depth. And having said that, they had that game won with 5 overs to go. So, what do I know? Okay, team of the tournament. Righto, let's go. We'll start with our openers. Obviously, we've got to go Rohit because, captain, turned it on when it matters. 8 innings, 257 runs, average of 36.7, striking at 156. His best innings, people want it. Yeah, the 92 off 41 versus Australia is great. The 57 off 39 against England in the semi on a rough pitch, I think, just sort of sums up this era. And he's going to be pairing up with Travis Head from Australia. 7 innings, 255 runs, average of 42.5, striking at 158. His best innings was in that game again versus Australia, 76 off 43. Just didn't have enough help, unfortunately. The contenders, look, we've got Gurbaz and Butler. I think Gurbaz is pretty unlucky. He had the most runs in the World Cup. For me, it's the strike rate that's the tough part of it. I like my strike rates to be high if I can. I know some of the pitches aren't that great, but there's something about, and maybe it's the makeup of Afghanistan's side where they don't have a lot of depth, and I think Gurbaz takes a lot on. Same with the other opener. But I don't particularly like that kind of batting. I think I prefer sort of going harder at the top, like a Rohit. I think, I'm trying to make a decent side here. I'm not trying to just pick the best stats, trying to pick the best side. And then the other sort of nomination is Butler. He's averaging about 40 odd, but I just felt I didn't really like England that much, to be fair. So I didn't really want to pick their players unless I was forced. And no, I just think, they play a lot of easy games, and Butler looked pretty good against some of the shitty teams. Let's move on to the middle order. Bit of love to USA. Gauss, former South African player, or age group player, I should say, 6 innings, 219 runs, average of 43, striking at 151 with his best innings, 80 red off 47 versus South Africa to almost pip them. Coming in at 4, we got Puran from the West Indies, 7 innings, 228 runs, averaging at 38, striking at 146. His best innings was that demolition of Afghanistan, 98 off 53. We got Hardik Pandya coming in at 5. He's one of our all-rounders. With the bat, he was 6 innings, 144 runs, average of 48, striking at 151. His best innings was that 50 off 27 versus Bangladesh. And arguably, he was probably better with the ball. 11 wickets at 17 with a comedy rate of 7.5. And that spell 3 for 20 in the final, including, the last 2 overs at the death, going for 8 runs. Exceptional talent. One of the best players in the world. The other all-rounder is going to be Marcus Stoinis from Australia. 5 innings, 169 runs, average of 42, striking at 164. Best innings was that running down 190 versus Scotland, 59 of 29. And also with the ball, he did the job. 10 wickets at 15, comedy rate of just under 9. He took 3 for 19 against Oman. He was Australia's second top wicket taker, which is credit to him. Some of the contenders, Sky, Aaron Jones, Brandon McMullen, Harry Brook, and Klaasen. Just Sky, average too low. Jones, I felt like he was sort of one innings man. Brandon McMullen was probably unlucky. He didn't go further. I tried to favour teams that made the Super 8s, but I thought he was worthy of a mention. Harry Brook didn't really bat enough, although he was pretty close, actually. Klaasen, I don't know what to do with the stats because they're so low because they play on dog shit wickets, but I thought his innings in the final deserved a mention. On to the bowlers. We've got Rashid Khan from Afghanistan, 14 wickets, average of 12, comedy rate of 6. Cleaned up New Zealand, 4 for 17 off 4. Faruqi, he's a must. He was a wizard with the new ball. 17 wickets, average of 9.4, comedy rate of 6. He took 4 for 17 against New Zealand as well. He took 5 for 9 against Uganda, but I mean, New Zealand and Uganda. Bumrahed, he's probably the player of the tournament, let's be honest. The difference in so many games. 15 wickets, average of 8, a Connor out of 4. Fuck me. There were so many good spells, but I think the stakes are higher in the final. 2 for 18 in the final. I just love how he's used. It's just always when, we're in the shit. All right, Bumrahed. Oh, we're in the shit. All right, Bumrahed. It's just how it happens, and he delivers every single time. Just a genius. So it gets hard. Nokia from South Africa, 15 wickets, average of 13. Common rate less than 6. That's crazy stuff. His best spell, probably 4 for 7 off 4 versus Sri Lanka. They had played on some dodgy wickets, but he delivered in the final, so credit to him. The opposite of that, Kuldeep didn't deliver in the final, but his performance was sensational. We needed another spinner, really. I think I probably would have had Arshdeep in that side, but I just felt like just Rashid Khan as the spinner didn't make sense, really. And if we had Arshdeep Singh, it's probably him or Faruqi. I think we got enough firepower with the seam attack to just go for the next best spinner, which I think is Kuldeep. Apart from that final, he took 10 wickets in 5 games, average of under 14, average of under 7. The spell in the semi-final, 3 for 19 of 4 against England was phenomenal. The unlucky pace bowlers, Arshdeep, Naveen, Alzari Joseph, and Kagiso Rabada. There were so many options, actually, from a seamer's point of view. That was just a short list. Spin bowling contenders. Zampa, very unlucky. He's very close, actually. You could actually argue him over Kuldeep. We're not going to because I've already picked it. Rashid Hussain from Bangladesh was very good, among the top 5 wicket takers. Shamsi and Maharaj, they were an awesome combo. Shamsi didn't deliver in the final. Maharaj, I think I'm just punishing him for what he did with the bat, really, which has nothing to do with this. But it's my team, so there you go. That's a wrap. We're here. Congratulations to India. It really did turn into an awesome spectacle that last day. It was an amazing final between 2 unbelievable teams, the 2 best teams by far. Unlucky to South Africa. If they continue to play this sort of cricket, I'm sure they will be in amongst the winning circle very soon. Thank you to Domino's. Thanks to Jacko for most of this. I know he's been away. He's been in Canada. It's tough with time differences, but he'll be back soon. We'll be back soon. Thanks to the listeners. Looking forward to see what's next. But until then, I will see you all when I see you.